Before you sign another paper, send that message, or make that promise, stop. There's a quiet there you've been taught to ignore. In that silence, your next life is waiting. Listen now, the decision you're about to make might decide who you become when you finally stop forcing, stop demanding, stop shouting at the universe to give you what you want. That's when life begins to whisper back. The truth is, existence has always been responding to you. Every thought, every emotion, every silent belief sends out a vibration, and life echoes it back. Not as punishment or reward, but as reflection. You are not living in the universe. You are living as the universe, expressing itself through your consciousness. When you truly begin to listen, reality rearranges itself around that stillness. It's not magic, it's resonance. You're no longer fighting the current. You're aligning with it. Life responds not to your words, but to your frequency. Think of a tuning fork. When one vibrates, another nearby begins to resonate in harmony. The same is true for you. When your inner world vibrates with calm, gratitude, and awareness, life naturally begins to mirror that energy. People treat you differently. Opportunities arise out of nowhere. You meet the right souls at the perfect time. It feels like coincidence, but it isn't. It's consciousness communicating with itself through synchronicity. Listening is not passive. It's active surrender. It's choosing to trust the intelligence that governs the tides. The stars, the seasons, the same intelligence that flows through you. When you listen deeply, you stop trying to control outcomes and start allowing divine timing to unfold. The moment you align with stillness, the world starts aligning with you. Not because you've manipulated it, but because you've become part of its natural rhythm. You stop living against life and start living with it. When you listen, you begin to see meaning in everything. A delay isn't rejection, it's redirection. A closed door isn't failure, it's guidance. The person who walked away wasn't loss, and it was clearing space for something greater. Life starts speaking through everything, your pain, your joy, your mistakes, your silence. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. You can say all the right affirmations, visualize endlessly, and still feel stuck if deep inside you carry doubt, fear, or resistance. But the moment you become still enough to feel instead of force, to trust instead of chase, you send a new signal. One the universe immediately echoes back. When you start listening, you become sensitive to the rhythm of divine timing. You realize that not every moment is for action. Some are for stillness. Some are for waiting. Some are for breaking so something deeper can be rebuilt. There's a sacred balance in listening, a dance between surrender and movement. You don't become passive. You become precise. You don't waste energy trying to swim against the current. You wait for the wave, and when it comes, you move with power and purpose. That's when results feel effortless, not because they're easy, but because they're aligned. The greatest shift happens when you understand that life is not happening to you. It's happening for you, and ultimately through you. Listening allows you to step into partnership with existence. You stop begging the universe to help you and start collaborating with it. When you live this way, your entire perception changes. You see patterns. You notice signs. The random becomes meaningful. The impossible becomes natural. You'll hear life whispering through everything. The way light moves through the trees, the rhythm of your own breath, the silence after a storm. And the deeper you listen, the clearer your path becomes. Decisions that once seemed heavy start to feel obvious. The noise of the world, opinions, fears, comparisons, begins to fade. You stop following the crowd and start following intuition and the voice of the universe speaking within you. Remember this: when you listen, life listens back. When you honor silence, silence begins to honor you. You'll find yourself in the right place, at the right time, saying the right words, meeting the right people, not through planning, but through presence. This is not superstition. It's not luck. It's alignment. It's awareness vibrating in harmony with creation. You are not separate from the intelligence that guides the stars. You are a note within its symphony. When you learn to listen to that music instead of trying to conduct it, life begins to move through you like a river finding its ocean. So listen. Listen without fear, without expectation, without resistance. Life is always speaking in whispers, in signs, in silence. And when you finally hear it, you'll realize it was never the universe that was distant. It was your mind that was loud. Because when you truly listen, life doesn't just respond. It becomes you. In the silence after awakening, there is a realization that there was never any separation to begin with. All your searching, your pain, Your longing to understand life's mysteries, to connect with something greater. It all led you back here, to this moment, the place where the seeker and the sought become one. The moment you realize that you were never apart from the universe. You were the universe trying to remember itself. This is the return to oneness. It's not a physical journey, but an inward homecoming. The end of the illusion that you are a fragment in a vast, indifferent cosmos. You were never a fragment. You are the cosmos condensed into consciousness. Every atom in your body, every spark of thought in your mind, every heartbeat, is the same energy that spins galaxies, grows forests, and lights the sun. For so long we believed in separation. We saw you and me, what mine and yours, we light and dark. We divided what was always whole. But separation was just a necessary illusion, the stage upon which consciousness could experience itself. Without contrast, there can be no awareness. Without distance, there can be no longing. And without longing, there can be no return. The return to oneness begins when you stop trying to find meaning outside of yourself. When you finally understand that everything you've ever experienced, every joy, every heartbreak, every delay, every silence, and was life reflecting you back to yourself. The universe didn't abandon you. It mirrored you. It whispered, "Be still. Look within. Remember who you are." Oneness is not about escaping humanity. It's about embodying it fully. It's about seeing the divine in your laughter, your tears, your fears, and your courage. It's realizing that the same consciousness that breathes through the stars is breathing through you right now. When you reach this awareness, life stops feeling like a series of random events. You begin to see the golden thread that connects everything. You see how every person who entered your life was a teacher, how every loss was a form of guidance, how every silence carried wisdom that words could never hold. And you begin to forgive, not because you forget, but because you finally understand. You see that even those who hurt you were acting out of their own unhealed illusions. They too were lost in the dream of separation. You forgive because you realize they are you in another form. When you return to oneness, your perception changes completely. You stop competing, comparing, chasing. You begin to live with a sense of quiet reverence. Every moment feels sacred, even simple things, and the sound of rain, a child's laughter, a breath in the cold air, and feel like divine poetry, because they are. You begin to see the world not as an object to conquer, but as a reflection to honor. And as this awareness deepens, something extraordinary happens, and fear disappears. Because how can you fear life when you know you are life? How can you fear loss when you realize nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed? Death itself loses its sting, because death, too, is part of the same eternal cycle of becoming. You understand now that you were never the body, never the thoughts, never the roles you played. Those were just temporary garments for consciousness. You were an art and the silent awareness behind them, the observer that has been watching since before your birth and will continue beyond time. In that moment of realization, something within you breaks, not in pain but in release. The false walls of me and you dissolve. The boundaries between self and world blur. You no longer stand apart from creation. You stand as creation. You feel what mystics and poets tried to describe for centuries, that unspeakable unity, that infinite stillness in which everything arises and dissolves. You no longer pray to the universe. You pray as it. You no longer seek light. You become light. And then you understand what silence truly is. It's not the absence of sound, and it's the presence of everything. Silence is the voice of eternity speaking through now. It's where all questions dissolve because all answers are felt, not heard. This is the return to oneness, and not an ending, but a new beginning. The moment when consciousness remembers its own infinity, when the listener becomes the song, when the wave realizes it was never separate from the ocean. And once you know this, truly feel this, life changes forever. You no longer fight the flow. You trust it. You no longer seek validation. You rest in truth. You no longer chase meaning. You are meaning. Every breath becomes sacred. Every silence becomes a prayer. Every human becomes a mirror of the same divine spark. You realize that enlightenment is not escaping this world, and it's awakening within it. To walk, to love, to create, to breathe. All of it is the universe experiencing itself through the miracle of being human. So listen, not with your ears, but with your soul. The universe is still speaking, through the wind, through stillness, through you. It always has been. It always will be. Because in truth, you were never apart. You were always home. You were always the one.